Good morning, Terry. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well, honestly, and I hope I'm not a minority in saying this, but I never even heard of Zoom before the pandemic. Did it grow too fast for its own good?
It did. Actually, most people didn't know about Zoom because there's so many alternatives, right? We've always had the Skype. We've always had Google Hangouts or Meeting or even GoToMeeting. But Zoom is actually one of the most friendliest video conferencing solutions out there. So One of the issues was it actually did grow too fast. I mean, just last year, it had almost it actually had 100 million users. And now also because of this pandemic, they've grown to 200 million users. And obviously, cybersecurity took a back seat to this.
Yeah. So what are some of the security concerns surrounding Zoom? What exactly is going on?
The biggest problem was it's called Zoom bombing. It's where you're in the middle of a meeting and then some joker had access to your meeting link and just jumps in. And next you know, he's messing around. He's showing like inappropriate content on the video. You know, he's just disrupting your meeting basically.
Wow. Okay. And so what can people do to protect themselves in terms of selecting a password or a username? Is there anything that we can do on our end?
Yeah. So there's a couple of things. So since this meeting bombing grew so wildly, they started implementing mandatory meeting passwords, right? Which is a good thing. But again, if anybody shares that link to anybody else with the password, anybody can get in. So there is a new option now that we have. It's called, instead of using a personal meeting ID, it's called a per meeting ID, which is a randomized meeting code that'll be used one time. And after that, once the meeting is over, the code will self-destruct, we'll say.
Okay, interesting. And you know, taking what's been going on, there's been schools in the States, I mean, around the world, probably even here, people who have stopped using it completely because of these concerns. So having taken everything right now, would you advise against using Zoom?
It really depends on what your meeting is about. I mean, if you're just doing meetings with your friends, your student meetings, stuff that's not highly sensitive, I don't see a problem with it, right? There's ways to implement other features to make it harder for people to get in. I mean, another feature, for example, is called the waiting room. It's where people will try to join before the host, but they're stuck in a meeting room. So when the host is about to start the meeting, he can actually look at the attendee list to see who's there. And if there is any jokers in there, he can actually remove him from the meeting before it starts. And then once the meeting starts, he can lock the room, which means nobody else can join in.
Interesting.
So there is some progress on this.
Yeah, and the CEO just spoke earlier this week, didn't he, about it and saying, you know, we're a security and privacy first platform. Are you satisfied in the last few seconds we have left in terms of what steps the company has taken to ensure the security of everyone?
Sure. You know, if I had $1 for every time I heard that sentence, you know, the problem is that they always implement cybersecurity when it's too late. You know, the crime's already happened, and as most companies are like this too, right? They wait until we don't need cybersecurity right now, we'll wait later on. And then when a breach happens, okay, let's get it done right away. They're not the first and they're not going to be the last.
Yeah, damage control, right, Terry? Thank you so much again for your time this morning. We appreciate it.